Hello there, Ome. Thank you for listening to the Hard Knocks Sorority Podcast. In this episode, which is the second half of our 7th session in the campaign, there is a good bit of exposition as Procop and Ice's motivations begin to be revealed. In the shadows of Seattle, the past and the debts accrued in it lurk like a horde of ghouls. The team also spends a good bit of quality time at Greasy Ben's in Renton before returning to Samovar and Procop Skillful. Cecile is confused. Grace does not feel safe. Boxer is a kid in a candy store, and Deander looks for a sword that does not do physical damage. Listen, chummers, we value your time and hope you are enjoying the experience. If you are enjoying our podcast or want to tell us how badly we are butchering the rules, please let us know on our Discord. If you are listening to us on a service that allows you to rate us, please do so. Help us to hack that algorithm with a 5-star review. Most importantly, though, we thank you for listening and hope you will continue to do so and spread the word to your friends. Stay safe, conserve your ammo, scrub that data trail, and need I really say it? Don't make deals with dragons.
With the Human Resource Corps?
Please do not choke your subordinates to death. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to issue a complaint for loud breathing. You have to do it. You should do it consensually on both of your times. The Empire will not pay for this tomfoolery. I'm fucking for it.
So, Dinder, you had let everybody know that there's a meet with Mr. Johnson set up. Is there anything else that you guys are going to be doing in the meantime?
Dinder would probably go to a shooting range. If there would be one in Seattle.
I imagine there are plenty.
And
Virtually everybody in Seattle carries some kind of firearm and is going to need some kind of place to train on it.
she'd just buy some ammunition for her manhunter and like spend a couple hours shooting just to cool off some steam.
All right. Cecile, you've bought your programs, your software.
Yep, Cecile's all ready to go, minus the fact that she's still wearing normal clothes.
All right. So around 6 p.m., you guys are going to assemble at Greasy Ben's. Was it Greasy Ben or Greasy Bill?
I think it was Ben.
Greasy Ben's.
Yeah.
You guys are assembling at Greasy Ben's, and this time, to your surprise, Mr. Johnson is already there waiting for his cologne is overpowering the scent of barbecue, much like it did last time. And he is dressed in a his standard, what you saw him in last time, his wannabe Shadowrunner kind of garb. And otherwise, just as unpleasant as he was the first time you met.
I think
So I'd be very glad to be wearing her rebreather.
Dinder goes from like kind of blank face to like a passively annoyed face, I guess you could say.
Passively annoyed face.
She's moved to resting bitch face.
Yeah, the smell of the aerosol cologne Black Shadow hangs over this guy like a fog, and
It'd almost be a good smell if it was just less.
yeah, and he's regained some of his false bravado and gruff manner, as you approach, pretending to be a shadow runner and a Mr. Johnson, and you guys pull into the booth with him. He's like, "All right, so you found Kimmy? She's okay?
Yes.
All right, then where is she?"
She is currently training to become a knight-errant officer at the academy.
I think DeAndre would literally grab Cecile and stop her.
Like, cover her mouth?
Hmm.
Cecile looks at you very annoyed.
That's not the information you got.
Oh, yes, the money, of course. Frack, how do we do this again? Like, I pass it to you when you tell me, or what's the protocol here, guys?
No, we told you what you asked already. What's the message you had for her?
Deandra, we haven't relayed the message yet.
Yes, we're asking for the message now.
I
Isn't
already
it
know the message.
Well, look,
Did we?
I need her to call me. I need to know that she's okay.
We did not say she needed to call you, sir. Do not change the agreement after we've made it.
Well, how am I supposed to know that she's okay otherwise?
You hire us to make sure she's okay. We pass along your message, and then you pay us.
He looks a little annoyed, but I don't know that she's okay.
You have
You
our
don't trust
word.
us? If you didn't trust us, why did you hire us?
Well, do you have any proof that she's okay? Do you have, aside from your word, you could have just...
We will get a recording of her responding to your message, and we will give that to you. However, if you would like us to give you her exact location, that is extra.
Much extra.
Extra.
Perhaps you could save up and contact us later.
All right, get the recording and then let her know that she should please give me a call.
Absolutely.
Fine. This is...
Oh, by the way, Mr. Johnson, says the dog,
What? He looks startled.
please go a little lighter on the cologne because I can barely hear myself think over its volume. Thank you.
It's
And then she promptly like squirms underneath the table and gets out from the booth.
What is that?
It's a dog.
It's just a dog. I don't get it. What do you see?
Don't worry, sir. We have associates who prefer to take on a more anonymized appearance. You understand.
It's a dog, Cecile. Just a dog.
With an effort, you can see him pulling himself together. Like, he knows that, from the trids, that shadow runners come in all shapes and forms, and he's trying to be a shadow runner, so he's trying to pretend like he's okay with the situation.
It's like that guy in the burning building.
It's a spider ant dog.
What?
No. It's an Atslan bulldog terrier. Yeah, totally.
All right, come on, guys. So what's the timeline here, right? Give me something. So far, all you've told me is that you know that she's alive.
We know that she is alive. We know where she is. We are presumably going to contact her within the day, really.
Has your contact gotten back to us at all, Boxer?
Did he?
Not yet.
Distracted by all the excitement.
Or maybe. No, he hasn't.
Not yet.
He did say that he would make some calls. All right. So at that point, I guess Mr. Johnson gets up and leaves.
Perfect. Cecile. I don't know what Cecile does yet. What is everyone else doing?
I think DeAndre is waiting for the Mr. Johnson to leave while staring daggers at Cecile.
It really does smell terrible.
That's why I wear this. That's why I wear this.
Should probably wear mine more often.
You know all the shit that's in the air? You of all people would need it more.
Nightingale is actually snarling at this point, just kind of watching the Johnson go and then just staring in the general direction he had gone.
I
I think
looked at the guys
I
and
think
said,
DeAndre would like tap her head close to her eyes and be like, "It hasn't adapted to the city yet, so I'm clear for the time being. Any day now, though."
I think I like that guy less than I like you guys.
That's saying something.
My goodness, that is saying something. Thanks, Ice.
Yeah. When he said that, he sort of was looking directly at Deandre.
I half expected some go to lynch me when I saw him first time.
Now, don't be so harsh on our compatriot.
You
Cecile,
didn't choose to be racist.
Norm girl, look me in the eyes and tell me he doesn't look like a go straight off of I-5.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
A go gang is like a motorbike gang in
No, I know that.
Skyrim.
Cecile is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What a go straight off of I-5 is.
She's looking at you like you lost the ability to speak.
A go-go gang. You know, a go-go gang.
Deirdre would pull out up her comlink and pull up pictures of her in like full police gear in like the middle of a massive arrest of go-go-go's in Karasir.
He's just like, yo, observe.
Ah,
Observe.
you're a cop?
Was.
Lovely.
So when you're saying that, are you saying that about Mr. Johnson or about Ice?
About Ice.
Oh,
I've told him before that I thought he looked like a go-go, so
yeah, he found that mildly amusing.
I think she like scrolls through her pictures for a bit and then eventually comes to like the mugshot of one of them and turns it and it looks like Ice's like brother or something. They just look really similar.
Blonde, blue-eyed, yellow hair.
Tattoos are different though.
Yeah, tattoos are probably pretty different. He just looks at the picture and he says, yeah, I can't help it that some of these people, some of these scum look just like me.
Yeah.
They're just as lost as everybody else in this world.
Oh, I think most of them are dead now.
Yeah, most of the people I ran with are dead too.
The Shears prisons aren't kind to go-go.
I just can't take that name seriously. Sorry.
I knew what a go ganger was, but when you were just like go, I was like, what? Excuse me?
Go, go, go!
Go.
Go, go, go!
Is
Oh,
Deandra having
go.
a stroke?
Is she having an old woman moment?
She's not old enough to have a stroke yet.
Yeah,
You can
Yeah.
never be too young to have a stroke.
this is true.
Ice is probably old enough to have a stroke.
a
Probably
name
mad
like
enough to
that?
have a stroke.
Anyway, Cecile says, so, what are we doing? Because I have what I need to do my job now. What are you all doing?
Well, we're waiting, I suppose.
Good,
We've tried
then we
to
can go somewhere
contact.
that doesn't feel bad.
Yeah, I agree. Also, in the future, I want at least half of our payment up front, especially if they're going to smell that bad. Just putting that out there.
Understandable.
Understandable.
I can
I
tell you
agree.
this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
No, he doesn't.
Ice says, yeah, well,
Speaking of Ice, do you have an escrow service that you use often?
an escrow service?
Don't tell me you don't know what an escrow service is.
I have no idea what an escrow service is.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
Explain
like
to the older
escort
members in
service,
the
is it?
audience, please.
An, for those of you that don't know, an escrow service is somebody who holds on to the funds while you're doing the job, and then once you give them the information, they give you the money.
Huh, interesting concept. Never heard of it.
It's,
Maybe Ice can be our escort next time,
that's not how that
since he likes us so much.
Not how that works.
You're only slightly more competent than the Mr. Johnson, so, you know.
Speak for yourself, Ice.
So we have
No.
2 ways in, and we're waiting to hear from either.
There's absolutely no way anybody in the shadows is ever using an escrow service.
You don't think so?
Not really. I've never heard of it. I wouldn't want
Pretty
anybody
common
else
in the
holding my
hacker
money.
scene.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of shadows.
Well, no, that's different. It's crime in the devil box.
Crime in the devil box.
I
No,
wonder how they
exactly.
all got through the crash.
I can sort of see that. Crime in the devil box. Anyways,
We're all
look, people. Can we get this wrapped up? I feel like we're right there.
Sure. Let's go somewhere less. She starts walking out.
Ice looks down at his order of pulled pork and takes one last bite and pushes it away from him.
You could take it with you, you know.
No, it's all right.
How do you
It's
know
not
what
good,
these
it's
for?
not worth it.
It's a little bit disgusting.
What else were you expecting? Yeah. I swear, they put oil into their food.
Well, I mean, technically it's soy. Ew, it would be disgusting. It's just that fucking spiced soy shit. Ugh.
Spice in quotation marks.
I can taste it.
What would the
Taste in the air.
Oh
what
god,
would soy
stop.
spam be like?
Oh,
Terrible. Regular spam is already questionable.
You mean so it would be better than spam?
I would imagine it'd have a much worse texture.
Spam is kind of okay though. It's just really salty.
Super salty.
Death by salt.
All right, so what do we got to do? We got to talk to Kimmy. We got to get in touch with this girl Kimmy and let her know that this Mr. Johnson. Hang on a second. How the hell are we? This guy's an idiot. How the hell are we supposed to tell her that she's supposed to call him when we don't even know his name?
Just
I can find
you
out.
know,
his
just
name.
say that one. Yeah, that one. You know what she was
that
gonna say?
fucking creep that like probably was creeping on you and being a creep.
Hey, there's
he
this
wants to
guy
talk
who
to you.
hired us because he's a fucking creep.
Creep. Where did they work together? It was Boeing, right?
Correct.
He was a Federated phone.
Okay, yeah. I feel like we could say your manager from Boeing, and she would immediately understand.
And
Immediately
probably.
cringe.
For frag's sake, this whole I don't know what Prokop was thinking. Did I tell you guys that this guy's been chopping this job around? And
Oh, yes, you
none of
did,
the
yeah.
other fixers took this on.
I'm surprised Brown Dog didn't take it. It's something he would take.
I don't know,
That
this
does not
Brown
sound
sounds
complimentary.
like he's got some sense.
He probably wouldn't get far enough south to get to Brown Dog, though.
I have no idea why Prokop took this on. He thought it would be some kind of good introductory job for you, but my God, I almost feel bad for you.
Well, I may be able to get into the academy via, running the astral, and get to just confirm that the person is actually there.
You can't really convey a message, though.
Yes, I can.
I would stay away from that place in the astral.
They'll have security.
There's no way they don't have astral security. Probably got hellhounds or something. Target
Oh.
patrolling.
Yeah.
I mean, Lone Star was bad, but Knight Errant's really bad.
Knight Errant probably has some whizworm working for them.
Okay, but what if I Mission Impossible a bit?
The what?
It's this Trid.
It sounds lame.
It's far from impossible, people.
I mean, like, the hardest thing they do is, like, rappel down through a ceiling light from a helicopter, I think.
That just sounds
Yeah,
cool.
that's not how it goes. Da-da-da.
That Trid came out 60 years ago now, maybe more.
He looks at
How
Gracie
do
and
you even know it?
can throw the pony over the fence.
Hey, I watched it with Miss Magnumfoot.
Where's she getting these old Trids?
I don't know.
Sure, that's a good idea.
No, it's a terrible idea. I was kidding.
Yes.
Wait, fence as in like...
The vents.
Well, Boxer, has your contact gotten back to you?
Yeah, at this point, Boxer's comm does ring, and it is Vicente.
Let's speak of the devil. She accepts. She takes it. That's internal, so they wouldn't be able to hear.
Hey, Boxer.
Hey, what info you have for me?
Yeah, Kimberly Antonson is a new cadet. Well, she's not new anymore. She enlisted about 6 months ago. She's just about finishing up her training. Nothing unusual. Looks like she's got some of the highest marks in her class. Outstanding recruit. And yeah, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Tell me, sir, would it be possible for us to set up a visit to her?
Boxer had her comm link on private.
Ah, my bad.
Because it's in her head.
All right, anytime, Boxer. Stay out of trouble.
Anytime. You too.
So what did your contact say?
Apparently, she's doing very well for herself over there. Top of her class and such. A very promising recruit.
Say if we could meet her?
Well, she's near the end of her training, which means we won't have long. But meeting her, I don't know.
I went to Knight Errant last night, asked after her, gave him my card. I don't
And
know.
Are you
Still
guys
waiting.
still in the greasy? Are you still in Greasy Ben's, or have you moved
We
out?
left. I don't know where we are now. I think we might just be like standing outside.
Wait, I feel like it would make sense for us to have like gotten in the van or something.
Get in the van.
Get in the van!
You guys are all in the van.
Yeah, we're
Mhm.
going on an adventure in the van.
All right. So
Van adventure.
as you're getting
I
into
refuse
the
to
van,
let the van start driving with me in it. I'd rather get on my bike and follow. So
all right. So Deandare, you see, is anybody going with Deandare?
Mm,
All right.
I'm not
Everybody
sure.
make a perception check as you guys are sort of parting ways on the street to get on your vehicles after this little confabulation.
Ew.
do.
Did you guys are at least consistent.
Yeah.
There is a knight errant cruiser parked behind the van, and
Right.
as you approach it, Deandare, you're seeing this too as you're headed towards your bike, and the rest of the group's headed towards the van. The driver's side door opens, and a man gets out. At first glance, he's got a striking resemblance to Ice. Same kind of older Caucasian male, human variant, military haircut. Strongly built, very fit, and wearing a knight errant uniform with some kind of rank on it. And he walks towards you as you guys are heading towards the van. And you hear Ice sort of hiss under his breath, like almost an involuntary exclamation of some kind of emotion. The man walks up to you and clearly blocking your path and looks you up and down and says, so you're the guys looking for my recruit.
Oh, this is correct, sir.
Let's head on inside and have ourselves a quick chat.
Certainly.
Bark!
Big
I think
performance check.
probably Deandare like comes back, but still has her bicycle helmet under her arm.
So you guys go back in, take a seat at the booth, and the man looks at you, says, what do you have? Dinner's on me.
Yeah, I don't eat at places like this.
Ice is just sitting there saying, he doesn't say anything. Anybody else?
Soy calf.
Thank you. I will pass.
So suit yourself. No need to be coy, though. It's not that kind of a visit. What about the doggy?
He talks sometimes.
The dog wants fruit juice.
I think they actually like milk.
What if we just give him the rest of Ice's dinner?
Hey,
Looks like
Ice, are you still eating?
Looks enough like dog food.
Ice scowls at you. He's obviously trying to tell you something with the look, but you can't quite make it out what he's trying to convey.
Can I judge intentions?
Sure.
I would also like to judge intentions.
Ew.
So
5.
excited.
Dang.
Wow, okay.
Guess I don't even need to roll.
Oddly enough, in spite of the fact that Ice obviously doesn't like Deandare for some reason, Deandare and Ice seem to have a fairly decent rapport. And you can tell that Ice is basically trying to tell you guys to either leave him out of this or not talk to him or not draw any attention to him.
Ah, okay.
An orc waitress pulls up and throws a couple of menus on the table and then looks at you guys. Weren't you guys just in here?
Yeah,
We
We wanted seconds.
we were talking to a friend of ours.
Doesn't happen often.
Well, when another friend of yours shows up and they just want some greasy,
Delicious food.
then you just have to come in again, I guess.
While they're all talking about this, I wanna dig on how the officer's aura looked throughout this, like whenever he was initially approaching us, and then also now that he's sitting with us. I imagine he's not actually all that combative. It's just
No, he's not. He's not. He doesn't have any aggressive intent towards you. He doesn't trust you or like you. So he's definitely got a strong antipathy towards you, and he has a sort of arrogant confidence to him that is typical of a cop. Anyways, but other than that, he's definitely he's totally mundane, aside from some minor cyberware that you see in him. That's probably a data jack and some other stuff, but it's nothing, no major holes in his aura.
yeah. Nightingale's going to skirt underneath the table and cast Mind Link on just Cecile and Boxer, mainly because she doesn't want to feel the sting of the Feld spell again. And I think she would communicate that like he thinks that we're a bunch of crooks. He also thinks that we're stupid kids. Playing to his confidence. Smiley emoji.
Smiley emoji over MindNet.
Yes, it's a psychic pony smiley emoji.
No, it's a psychic imprint of the pony's face smiling, which
Does
is
any-
very
no.
odd.
Does anybody have any police knowledge, anything of law enforcement?
I do.
Let's see.
Actually, I have knight errant knowledge.
Nice. You want to roll that for us?
Sure.
All yours, Dandre.
I have
no modifiers,
forensics.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
No modifiers, right?
Nah, no modifiers now.
Shadow community.
It's probably gonna be bad. Oh, 3.
Okay, not bad. Yeah, so you recognize the uniform and the insignia. Obviously, this man has the rank of a sergeant, but you can tell from the various ribbons and other direct decorations on the uniform that he's a very highly decorated officer who is probably now in charge of training cadets and things like. You see some ribbons that are related to like hand-to-hand combat, small arms, small unit tactics, that type of stuff. And he says he picks up the menu and then he tosses it back down, and again he looks at the orc waitress and says, "Yeah, just give me the usual, Judy." And she says, "Yep, absolutely, Sergeant." And she heads off. And he looks at you guys and he says, "Name's Sergeant Ansel."
Hello,
You-
Sergeant Ansel.
You guys are?
Um,
Well, I think I know who you are. You're D&D.
Dip was seeing Calme.
Yeah, you stopped by the facility last night looking for Kimberly, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'd appreciate it if you would enlighten me.
Oh, well, we met someone recently and they were a little bit worried about her, old co-worker, so we figured we'd ask around. You know, we're good at this sort of thing.
Ah, one of those, huh? Yeah, we get that every now and then. We're very protective of our new cadets.
It would seem we were very surprised when she hadn't said anything on her Horizon account for a long while.
Yeah, Matrix access is denied for the first 6 months of training. Keeps them focused, keeps them from doing foolish things and giving away our training methods. Also
Understandable.
keeps them from being a target for people who want to, people like you guys looking for an in at Knight Errant, trying to get in with our cadets. Is that what's going on here?
Oh, no, not at all.
We wanted it at Knight Errant. I'd just join, but we just needed to.
So who hired you?
No one hired us. A friend just wanted us to pass along a message. They were worried. He,
Okay.
Also, I'm in private military. It's different.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are Shadowrunners, right? I mean, let's just call it
Private
Spade, right?
military.
He points at Dander. She's fired. He looks at Boxer.
Fired's a strong word.
You're an ex-merc, and from what I hear, not on the good side of your ex-company. He looks
I
at
would say
Cecile.
not.
He said, "You're a college kid who's getting in over her head. I don't know what your deal is." And he looks at Ice and he says, "You're some old dude
He's
run
an
out of money
ex-Soviet
trying to
guy,
get
except
back
a few
into the
months ago.
shadows, or what's going on?"
Hmm?
So yeah, you guys are Shadowrunners. You're looking for somebody. Somebody hired you.
all right.
Yeah.
I'll level with you. We don't like this guy who hired us. We just want the paycheck. We aren't trying to do anything untoward. We just need to get a recording of her saying, like, "Hi, don't ever talk to me."
How about if you get a recording of me saying that? Because I'm not going to let any sketchy people get close to my cadets for
Oh,
anything.
no. We don't need to get close to her. We can just call her a comlink or a communal one if, confiscated that at the door.
He gives you sort of a feral grin and says, I'd rather find out who your Mr. Johnson is and just make them go.
We
As-
wouldn't get paid if that were the case.
Fair enough.
Although, I will say, if you are willing to match or exceed his bid, we might be able to come to an agreement.
Dragon Shadowrunners.
I'm not a Shadowrunner. I'm just, hired help.
Appeal to the dirty cop in him. This would be good for him. He could say that he protected her. Hold it against her. Or for her? You understand what I mean. Future. It would be good because he apparently values this person very much. Yeah, she doesn't say that out loud. That's over the mind net.
Can you make a sensing test?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Why don't we do a sensing test for Grace, since she's dual-natured and can see in the astral, and you're
Ooh.
trying to get a read on this guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
underneath of all the bluster and bravado, whenever he says the word Shadowrunner, you get the distinct impression that he dislikes Shadowrunners the way Ice dislikes elves.
So
Shadow racist.
Shadow
This
racism.
realization is like burned into their minds. He is shadow racist.
Boxer actually winces at that.
Yeah, and even though he is obviously he's a cop and he considers himself a cop, there's a tinge of hypocrisy. He's got a secret too. All right, so what'll it be? So you're not going to give me the Mr. Johnson, and I'm not going to give you Kimmy. Seems like we're at an impasse.
Oh,
Wait. Over
I'm
the
just like
mind
to
net.
remind you, sir, we haven't done anything illegal. We're just asking questions.
Yeah, I didn't say you did anything illegal, but you're gonna, and I'll be watching.
Nightingale.
Name, sir.
Nightingale says that over the mind net that remind him that this person is creepy and possibly dangerous, and they're probably going to keep escalating unless something is done. Either we can kill this quick and easy, or we can give him access to the Johnson for a little bit more so that he can set them straight. But something has to be done, or otherwise, everyone's going to go home frustrated and disappointed.
Look, sir, we're not fond of this, I don't even know what to call him, scumbag, basically. We, in fact, haven't even told him, them, that we know where she is, right? That we haven't told her anything, we haven't told them anything about Kimmy, except that we know she is alive, alright? We don't really want our employer to know where she is. We're more or less on the same side here. If you want to take him in for some questions, figure out what his deal is, that's okay, but we don't work for free.
He grunts. Shadowrunners with a conscience. Never thought
I
I'd see the day. He
sometimes.
says very sarcastically.
You'll understand when you meet the man.
Yes.
All right,
Look,
let's do it this way then. I'll get you the recording of Kimmy saying this guy should stay the frag away from her, and you tip me off where the meat is, where you drop it off. Once you get paid, I'll move it. How's that sound? Amenable?
Ask for more money.
That works perfectly well for me, but I can't say what the rest
But
of them.
with, we say, slight adjustment. How about we call you in once we're finished? You know how it'd look if we were around when the guy got caught?
He shrugs.
we are running a business after all.
He shrugs. Fair enough. And at that point, Judy shows up with a platter of pulled pork and other nasty-looking meat product, and a pitcher of beer and bubbly liquid. And he starts tucking in. And he puts a card on the table, an actual physical paper card. My card. You can call me at this number.
Certainly. Have a good evening, officer.
I think DeAndre picks up the card and then I apologize. I cannot hand you my card because my office number is wrong currently.
He snorts. Office number wrong.
It is. And I pull out an old card. It's 6 months old. It still says an address in Parasir, and it's all in Spirithill.
All right. He takes it.
Seal's already leaving.
Like
Yep.
even the numbers are written in Spirithill too. It's like
He looks at it
100%.
and he just drops it back on the table and keeps eating. Ice is right behind Cecile. Can't get out of there fast enough.
Nightingale is tagging along.
Officer's
He
heading
is kind of whinging in the mind net about, why didn't you ask for more money?
I
Nice.
think
You didn't
DeAndre is the
tell me
last
you
to
had a
leave,
problem with cops.
and she probably does something that you will never see her do to a human again. She bows to this man.
Wow. He is a total bad person and ignores you.
How dare he?
Understandable.
That little monster.
I spit on the floor after I leave.
So much for the thin blue line, am I right?
In his case, it's the black and gold line.
Black lion.
Did you say fat black line?
I'm pretty sure the Peace Force in Karasir wears something like green.
Knight Errant is black and gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what happens now, guys?
Ice, are you all right? You seem stressed in there.
Yeah, it doesn't actually take a whole lot of a sensing test from any of you to see that he's looking a little. He's
Is he
looking
pale?
sort of. You could almost say he's seen a ghost. He's like, yeah, we need to get the frag out of here. We need to get back to Samovar.
Okay.
Well, I look at Ice. You riding with me, or are you riding in the van?
He's torn. Like, Pony's gonna be driving the van. The elf is gonna be driving the bike. Shit, what do I do?
Well, obviously the pony is more trustworthy.
Tell you what, Ice, I'll take a cab.
I'll go with Cecile.
I think DeAndre does spit on the ground again and says something in Spirithill.
Yeah, at this point you've been like disrespected sort of twice in a row, and it's probably getting a little old.
I think whatever the equivalent of grumbling in Spirithill is, she does as she walks away, which I imagine sounds pretty strange.
Fragging racist humans.
Damn human.
Norms.
Fragging racist normies.
Normie.
All right, what do you
Or,
think? So everybody's headed back to Samovar, or are you guys going other directions?
Samovar.
Samovar.
I'm going to Samovar.
All right.
Not going to do the whole astral projection thing this time.
Did you read up, Grace? Elizabeth?
Oh yeah, I meant to do that. I started and then I got distracted.
All right.
So I haven't read it. Is any of it immediately pertinent?
I imagine that Grace's perception of Samovar and the people in it would be very different if we had role played the last session with her astral perception. And that's sort of what I tried to get across in that stuff that I wrote for you.
Okay. I'll skim over this.
Yeah, you can probably just pick out the pertinent parts pretty quickly.
It's all right for the rest of us to read it. I assume you censored it for a reason.
Well, I censored it because it's Grace's perception of the meeting with Prokop at Samovar. So it's more of the only reason there's no reason you can't read it. It's just that if I had been role playing it properly the last session, you would have heard these things anyway. So
Sweet, because I'm curious.
I did forget to mention earlier that DeAndre looks completely different in all of her photos of her. Like,
yeah.
Oh
She
yeah. Cecile was probably looking at those like, what? Why are you showing me a picture of a cop?
Yeah.
I think DeAndre just did not explain.
Okay, so Cecile's still like, what? Who is this weird green person?
Yeah, and I think probably what's his name? Jim Ansel. When he looked at it, he probably didn't understand it either, but he just didn't really care either. Yeah, so you guys, Grace and Boxer are in the van, Seal and Ice are in a grid guide, and Deander's headed out on the bike. Are you guys hanging together, or are you sort of all going your own way? I guess the grid guide's probably just going its own way. So call it about a half an hour later. You once again pull up behind into the industrial area of Tacoma and back into the back alley behind Samovar. Sort of, you see the outwardly disused appearing industrial building, the loading dock. The loading dock again is got some security personnel standing around. And Grace, you of course see that there are several spirits patrolling the area as well. There's probably at least one watcher spirit that's hanging out around here by the loading dock, and there are several spirits that look like they're probably spirits of beast in this shape of they take the form of these very large black wolves that are sort of seem to be tracking and sniffing around. And as your little convoy of vehicles pulls into the area and into the loading dock, these astral spirits, sort of come to attention and appear to be staring mostly directly at you.
Mm. Nightingale is a little antsy about emerging from the van, and then even more so whenever she becomes aware of the wolves and others' presence. I imagine she just try to like give them a little wave and
Is the mine
not
net still up?
acknowledge them. Beyond that, yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you have to choose to send things over the mine net, though.
Yes.
This is true. I think I feel like she probably would have told them about the magical security and its sheer level at some point.
Yeah. You
Zeal
want to
was
tell
under
them
no
now?
impressions that the magical security was lacking.
I think you know what? She's going to try something. She's gonna try to be nice to them and say, "Hey, doggy," and just kind of wave, smile.
That's our girl.
They're watching you. They're not in any way overtly aggressive, but they're very attentive.
They can smell her fear, so to speak, and she just kind of shrinks in on herself and gives up on that.
The as you guys approach the group of security people at the door that you passed through the last time, there are literally 8. This is a team of 8 people. Grace, you perceive that 2 of them are awakened or magically active.
Oh yeah, okay. So Nadia is incredibly magical, like scary magical, and they have magic security out the wazoo, including several spirits to whom I do not know they owe services to. That's probably the summation of what she would have told them. And there's also just a lot of mages in that go to Samovar in general, a lot more than you typically see for being 1% of the population. It seems almost like they're like 20 here if you were only using Samovar as a sample size.
We're all getting out of the cars. You guys are all getting out of the vans and grid guides and off your motorcycles. And Grace has just informed the team that there's several spirits lurking nearby. The security detail by the door looks pretty much the same as when you were here last night. Several heavily armed and obviously cybered individuals. An elven person who must be a shaman of some type, judging by the fetishes and sort of their dress.
Either that or a cosplayer.
Or maybe a cosplayer, sort of an elf. What are they called?
So a normal elf then.
An elf faker.
Elf poser.
And
A poser.
the woman who's probably a physical adept, just judging by the way she moves. And as you walk up to them, they don't get in your way. They sort of stand aside. Ice is leading the way, and the door opens, and basically the same as I described it last time. There's a room. It's an airlock. The door closes behind you. You feel the pressure change. The other door opens. You follow Ice into the hallway and through the curtain. It's probably, let's call it around 8:39 at the moment. Again, you hear the music in the background, and you get the smell of the bar comes through. Grace or Nightingale, you're experiencing much the same as last time, although this time you're a little bit less nervous about it. You feel yourself passing through the threshold of the magical barriers. The rest of the crew, everybody who's carrying a comm, hears a distinct tone as your comm tells you that it's lost connection to the matrix. And then you enter into the environs of the samovar, and just like I described it last time, there's a band playing on the low stage. It looks like some kind of a jazz quartet. There are less people here at the moment, but both Prokop and his partner Talia are sitting in the VIP area drinking tea as you enter. And Nightingale, you're again immediately struck by the sense of magic that is coming off of Talia, and also by the fact that that both Talia and Prokop auras are heavily masked, and interestingly masked in such a way that although you cannot perceive, you cannot really perceive anything about them astrally. It's masked, it's tuned in such a way that surface emotions are visible, which seems like an intentional effort to put astrally perceiving people at ease. And as soon as you guys walk in, Ice is sort of taking the lead, and he walks right up to Prokop, and you can tell he's pissed. He looks furious. And
Who does?
Ice does.
Ice does.
And he's looking at Prokop, and he says, "You bastard! You knew what was going to happen. You could have got us all killed." Prokop's looking up at him and looks over at you guys, and then he sort of waves, motions towards the chaise lounges around the table with the tea, and "Come, friends, sit. Let's talk." And Ice looks at him. "You're no friend of mine, Prokop. I never should have trusted you again." You can tell, Grace, you see that there is definitely, Talia is on edge, and that there's definitely some magical energies she's summoning. She doesn't look like she's getting ready to do anything, but she's prepared.
I think DeAndre very pointedly sits down.
Cecile sits down in a very obviously confused way with her hands below the table.
As to the magic thing, I assume it's kind of like freeing your hands in preparation to either go for your slung rifle or your holstered pistol, as opposed to actually reaching for either one. The gathering mana.
Yeah. The runes that you noticed etched into the skin of her hands and wrists the last time you were here are definitely pulsing and glowing with energy.
I'm going to tell them that it seems like there may be a fight. Like, they're all rather tense. A lot more tense than I would expect.
This is over in the mine net?
Yeah.
So Boxer and Cecile?
Mm-hmm.
Boxer's hand, as always, twitches towards her hip.
I think,
Picard on her hip.
Yeah, you can. Why don't you all make a perception check at that point then?
Perception?
Perception or judge intentions?
I'm gonna judge intentions instead of perception.
Big iron on her hip.
Because I'm way good at judge intentions.
I'm slightly better at judge intentions.
Are you?
No.
Famous last words. Yeah, so Cecile, you're still confused.
Sorry, Cecile.
Cecile's just like, I don't know what's going on.
Why is the racist guy yelling at the other guy?
Why does
Help
he have
doesn't
to be
usually
racist?
fight back.
Grace
So-
and... Go ahead.
It's so weird for the help to yell.
That's a very Grace or a very Cecile perspective. Grace and Boxer, you are obviously, you can tell that Ice is furious, and you sense that although Prokop is not responding to that anger, you can tell that the woman next to him, who you didn't really interact with last time, is keeping an eye on Ice. Deandare, you get a pretty clear picture that Ice is not just furious, but feels very deeply betrayed for some reason. And you can see that the woman Talia is prepared to defend Prokop should Ice become physically aggressive towards him. The interesting thing is that they're really sort of just ignoring the rest of you guys coming. Prokop sits down at that point. He just sort of, in a huff, sits down. Then he realized he was about to sit down next to Deandare and goes and sits down next to Cecile.
Wow.
He's mad. He's not that mad that he forgets everything.
Nightingale, who is like physically here, not masked at all, save for her practitioner's cap and cloak, like comes to stand by the table while Ice has his little,
Hissy
moment.
fit.
And
Tantrum.
he says aloud, "Can one of you explain what's going on?"
At that point, you feel a presence on your left shoulder, at your left shoulder, and it's the woman Nadia, who's sort of not actually materialized, but appeared so surreptitiously that it's as if she had materialized. And she says in slightly Russian accented voice, "Would you like some tea?"
Sure.
She begins pouring tea out of the samovar on the table into the glass cups with the gold, the geometric designs on them. And as she's pouring the tea and handing them out, there's sort of an awkward silence. And she looks at Grace and she says, she just hesitates for a second with the teacup, sort of asking, without asking whether or not it's acceptable to offer it to you.
Nightingale just takes it with her magic
Okay.
and is going to claim a seat for herself.
Yep, these are some very nice, plush, comfortable chaise lounges, so you can claim one all for yourself.
Specifically facing away from the entrance to this area, so that even if someone comes in, they'll only see the back of their head, if anything.
Prokop declines the tea, or not Prokop, Ice declines the tea rather pointedly. Nadia just gives the most of imperceptible of shrugs. Does everybody else take some tea?
There, Cecile takes some tea.
Yeah.
I already took it, yeah?
It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Prokop's looking at the round, and Grace, Talia is looking at you. She seems to be looking, sharing her, dividing her attention between yourself and Cecile for some reason. And Prokop takes a sip of his tea, and then he says, "Okay, let's talk. First of all," he looks at Grace. Grace, or did you introduce yourself as Grace or Nightingale last time?
They called her Nightingale. She tried to use the name they called her Grace. She tried to use the name Nightingale, so he knows both.
Okay. So he looks at. So he says, "So let's talk." And then he looks at you and he says, "Thank you for doing us the honor of appearing in person today, Nightingale.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I trust that you feel more comfortable."
A little bit.
Good. Well, Ice, I'm sorry you feel the way that you do. Maybe you would like to explain to the group why you expressed your anger. Ice says, "Look, Prokop, I'm not interested in these silly games." He looks around at you guys and says, "Look, that man that we just met, that whatever he called himself, Jim Ansel, Sergeant Jim Ansel, his name's not Jim Ansel. And I think Prokop set me up with him." He looks at Prokop. You knew he was going to come for us when we started looking for this girl. You knew that was going to be the outcome. You meant for us to be face to face. Prokop just holds up his hands and says, "I didn't know that for sure. I didn't think that was going to be the outcome. But tell me, Ice, what happened?" And Ice recounts the story of what happened. "I see," says Prokop. "Well, you kept your cool, and he didn't recognize you, did he?" "No. But what would have happened, Prokop, if he had? Would we all have gone down shooting and back on the run?" Prokop just shrugs and says, "It's the shadows, Ice. Can I say? I needed to get the fox in front of you again. But we're being impolite. We need to explain to our friends what's happening here."
Yes. That wasn't meant to be in character.
I can't say I'm ecstatic to know that I was put into the position of nearly being in a gunfight without knowing.
Prokop leans back. Couple of things, Ice. I didn't have confirmation that Jim Ansel is who I thought he is. I showed you the picture when I brought you here. I needed to get him in front of you in person to get that confirmation. The man that you guys met this evening, who introduced himself to you as Jim Ansel, his real name is George Van Housen. He used to be a captain with Lone Star back in the 2050s.
Mm-hmm.
More than a captain of Lone Star, he was also the leader of a vigilante group. They were called the Shadow Riders, and their entire mission and mandate was the extermination of shadow runners in Seattle.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
That is an ambitious goal.
I think Deandre would probably be at this point looking like she's about to laugh, but is restraining herself.
Yeah, they were bad people. Well, Prokop chuckles a little bit. We're all bad people. Their methods and means were exceptionally brutal and savage.
And you let us come into contact with that for what exactly?
I wasn't confirmed.
You knew
that
the risk.
Man, I didn't know that Jim Ansel for sure was George Van Housen, but I knew that if he was, ICE would recognize him, especially face to face.
So we were your test run?
This is a test run still. But my intentions aren't to set you up. My intentions is to mold you into a shadow running team. In any case, confirming that this is George Van Housen, he's changed his stripes since the 2050s. You probably don't know the history. There was a major dust up, and the Shadow Riders were mostly arrested or killed. Other Lone Star operatives came in and cleaned out the corrupt officers. George Van Housen went underground just like me and ICE did. But he's apparently found a new identity and a new task with Knight Errant. So the Shadow Riders are gone. That's not something that you concern yourself. But George Van Housen is the man responsible for ICE being on the run for the last 20 years. And he's also responsible for setting up ICE's team and getting them killed.
I can see why he's upset.
Yeah.
Kindly let me know in advance when I'll need to prepare body armor. That would be nice.
He looks at you and says, well, welcome to the Shadows. You should be wearing body armor. Consider yourself notified.
Not everyone wore body armor these days.
Seal gives you a look like, what?
When someone can tell you that you'll be in a gunfight,
breastplate.
you'll already be in a gunfight.
Now, ICE, can we put aside our differences here and continue the mission? So, yes, I haven't been entirely open with you. Not dishonest, I haven't lied to you, but maybe a lie through an omission. But there is a secondary mission to what you guys are what your team is working on right now. We are trying to locate an additional member of ICE's crew that was never confirmed dead after the setup.
Are you trying to retrieve a corpse, or...?
We don't know, but George Van Housen would know.
Well, then let's hope they're alive. Live people are easier to find.
Yes. But back to the job, back to Mr. Johnson and his love interest. What is your plan?
Oh, well, I figured we would figure out the situation a little more, and then if we don't like the, aesthetic of this cop character, we would just not call him.
I don't think that would be wise considering.
What's he gonna do? Chase me down?
Yes, that is exactly what he'll do.
Oh no, a cop.
I think he's a little more than a cop.
Yes.
Also, it almost seems like you haven't ever dealt with cops outside of campus police. That's how you act.
Do you not realize that you rescued me from someone who threw a whole ass lightning bolt at your
Those
car?
aren't cops.
Yeah, and in comparison, I'm not that scared of a fat guy who likes questionable food.
The problem with the fat guy is not just the fat guy, it's the people behind him. And I suspect there are many.
I don't feel that concerned about
It's a sale.
10% more people chasing after.
To put it in consideration, we've got the the equivalent to the second-in-hand of Otis Tiernan on our ears.
Oh, I like that one. Because, Nightingale, raises a hoof and points vaguely at her own ears.
I think, almost reflexively, Deandre reaches up to the ear that has, the tip of it cut off, and then puts her hand down.
Are we touching ears?
ICE says,
Turn of phrase.
Just gonna follow the crowd and touch her ears.
so I think we're gonna have to follow through with our plan and our agreement with Georgie Porgy Van Housen.
That seems like a terrible idea.
No, Prokop's right. Well, Prokop's not right. You guys haven't agreed to this yet, but George Van Housen's going down. This Mr. Johnson's the bait in the trap.
Oh, so that's the real job.
That's the real job. George is the
Hey.
key.
What's going to
Is
happen?
it wet, or do we
Johnson?
want to bring him in?
He is going to be neutralized in such a way that he will not be a threat.
So it's wet.
We need him alive. We need answers. I need to know where my friends are.
But how do we know that this?
Does he need his leg for that?
No, he does not need his leg for that.
But how do we know this Van Housen is actually going to appear when we call for this Johnson to get arrested? For all we know, he's just going to send some beat cops over.
He didn't say that he was going to send beat cops out. He said he was
George.
going to make him disappear.
Yeah, George isn't going to send anybody to do his own work for him. You got to hand it to him. He'll get his hands dirty.
Reminds me of my drill sergeant back in the 30s.
You're the drill sergeant in the police.
Yeah. Well, that was before the Peace Force was the Peace Force and was more a militia.
Oh, Boxer praises her with a new kind of respect.
Deirdre is old as fuck. I think Sergeant Tiernan would have killed anyone who tried to even put a knife to our necks if he could. I think that's just how a drill sergeant is eventually.
Yeah, except for this one's a scumbag.
Weren't they all?
No, that's a discussion for later.
Not comfortable selling out our first Johnson.
He was repulsive.
Your first
Wait.
Johnson.
He also smelled really bad.
Splitting hairs.
What do you think he was
Regardless-
going to do that at a girl, huh?
It's not good to.
Cecile's right, says Prokop. Cecile's right.
We can't go around getting a reputation for being unreliable.
We won't
See,
get the
but you don't plan for him to actually get snatched.
Correct. He's bait, but part of our mission would be to keep the bait alive.
So we keep the lure on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying
Fine.
is we're only going to get a reputation for bringing the people he doesn't want to have around directly to him and endangering his life.
Who
I
says
think
he's going to tell?
reputation at all. I think nobody's going to know.
Again,
Actually,
right
I
on
think
this
if we
one.
tell him that, like, it's totally normal and he should be proud, he'll buy it and he'll be proud of himself for doing what he did.
Prokop said, this man is not a real Mr. Johnson. Right.
Obviously.
I mean, he is the Mr. Johnson, but he's not a Mr. Johnson who's going to be able to spread any kind of reputation. And we can have a word with him and impress upon him the importance of maintaining his silence.
It's your
You saw
investment
them.
on the line.
Indeed.
Whatever. As long as the pay's good and this doesn't come back on me, I'll call it even.
He chuckles again and looks at the rest of the team a little bit incredulously and sort of says, she still doesn't get it, does she?
No.
Well, in that case, I will act as the Mr. Johnson for this job, the George Van Housen job.
Okay.
So what's the pay, Mr.
He looks
Johnson?
at Ice and he says, I presume, Ice, that you still want to go through with this? And Ice says, there's no way I can't go through with this. Now that I know that he's still alive and he's here in Seattle, only one of us are going to leave alive. All right. Yes. So let's talk pay. Let's get back to out of the personal matters and into the professional matters. This is going to be an extremely difficult and dangerous job, obviously. I think 12,000 each.
I have a strange request.
How much?
12,000.
12.
Yeah.
Except for Ice. Ice gets nothing.
I have a strange request.
Does it involve Soykaf?
No. I'd like you to cut my portion in half, but assist me in developing a network for my search.
Very well.
I don't know, Prokop. A couple thousand extra would set my mind at ease considering how untruthful you were. I do not appreciate being, what's the word, deceived.
Were you deceived?
You
You
know,
might not see it that way.
Cecile, there's a
Dishonesty
saying we
has
have
a
in
price.
Karasira.
No, it's okay. Call it 15,000 then.
For all
Fine
of
by
us?
me. I just don't want this to become a habit on your end.
I can't promise that, of course, but some jobs require different types of finesse, different levels of finesse. But you should know I'll never actually lie to you in a way that to mean you harm.
You can mean me no harm all you wish, but I'll update you on the going rate. Settled for me.
He looks at Grace. And
She
you,
looks back.
our fine four-legged friend,
Yeah.
did you have any thoughts or concerns regarding the job?
Well, I've confirmed within, a few inches of reasonable doubt that there aren't mercenaries that want me, but that leaves either Evo or someone else, even bigger, who have not yet made a move, and I am kind of concerned for my safety. My cult, I don't even have ammunition for my cult. The magazine I have is unloaded. There's nothing in there. I have it for show. I wasn't expecting things to get as hot as they are now. And honestly, she sniffles. I'm honestly kind of afraid. Like I don't really know what I can do because I can't just go home because that would be dangerous. And, I'd like a solution for that.
A solution for the danger that you are in here?
She nods.
That's a very big solution that you're looking for.
Well, something to stay at so that I can, sleep easy and be feel a little more secure on the streets.
Okay. Well, I know I can get you a magazine and ammunition for your Colt. We'll start with the easy things. We'll work our way up.
Yeah.
Speaking on equipment, if we're planning on bringing him in alive, I need a blade that won't slit his throat when I hit him.
Okay.
I know that's a strange ask, but
Well, I tell you what, it appears that I'm not going to get much enjoyment anymore out of watching the band, so why don't we head down to the armory?
Now we're talking.
He stands and nods to Talia, and Talia stays seated. All right. Ice, you coming with us? Ice gets up unceremoniously. Yep, I'm along for the ride, I guess. He takes you down through a door on the other side of the bar, and you take a couple of flights of stairs down into the ground. And Cecile, you once again feel yourself passing through several mana barriers or wards or some other kind of magical barriers. And you can see that there are rooms down here that are used for, well, it looks like some of them are potentially could be prison cells. Others are storerooms. There are rooms filled with machinery. And then you come to a vault, which Prokop opens, and it is indeed an armory. It's very well equipped. Weapons of all sorts and shapes and sizes line the walls. There's body armor. There's ammunition.
Look specialist, or does it look kind of standardized, like he's equipping a security force with standardized weapons?
It's actually more. It's not standardized, no.
Okay, so it's like more personalized or specialist arms.
Yes, but not just for one person.
Okay.
So this isn't his personal armory necessarily.
Mm.
Prokop immediately goes over to a wall and picks up a short sword. You can tell that he knows what he's doing with it. No, Prokop says, "Help yourselves," and he looks at Nightingale and he says, "Grab all the ammo for your Colt that you need."
Boxer looks like she's died and gone to heaven. In the candy store. God.
Would I also be allowed to take a long gun?
Yeah, the weapons are loans. The ammo isn't.
That makes sense.
is there even a blade that does stun damage? Because a stun baton is a club, and Dindre is a blades person.
Boxers are gonna go sniffing around for
Can
Ari's
do that.
alpha.
Cecile grabs whatever, like, she just grabs an assault rifle and puts a scope on. Your
Prokop
choice.
watching you, and then he reaches over and picks up an armored vest off of a rack and hands it to Cecile.
Ah, thank you. Thank you for the forewarning.
Indeed.
Just tell me which gun she picks up.
All right, so Boxer's picked up an Ares Alpha. It seems to have been customized for somebody whose arms are somewhat shorter than yours, but you can adjust the stock to make it work for yourself.
Is there a malice? Sorry, debuff.
No.
It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, the first time you pick it up and put it to your shoulder, it doesn't fit quite right. You start fiddling with the stock and adjusting the stock, and pretty quickly get it adjusted to suit yourself.
Nightingale is going to want like several magazines worth of both like less lethal and lethal ammunition.
Actually, yeah. Boxer is gonna grab a box of pistol grade and pistol caliber and rifle caliber. Sorry, intermediate rifle caliber stick and shock.
Good choice. Stick and shock, I think, is going to be an invaluable asset to you on this one, says Pro Cop.
I have stick and shock. I just don't know what to do about my sword.
Cecile, you've picked up a Colt M23.
Okay.
To you, it looked like it was maybe not as huge and heavy and bulky as some of the other assault rifles.
Boxer nods at it. A respectable choice, if a bit basic.
Yeah, Ice is on another rack picking up a shotgun.
She has her ammunition. That's all she really wants. So she's going to talk to Procops. So we have established that I will be being paid 1,500 new yen. Sorry, 15,000 new yen. This is correct?
15,000 new yen. That is correct.
I would like an additional amount, but not for me. I would like it to be donated to a certain street doctor. I will give you their information to send the money. This is amenable?
Done.
And she flicks him the info.
Boxer,
Yes.
tell me, stick and shock or gel for this mission?
Honestly, take both.
I'm only taking one mag.
You're only taking. Honestly, this is not like a film. You don't have infinite ammunition.
Where am I going to put it?
Do you not have a harness? Of course you don't.
Boxer, you do understand that I was taken with literally the clothes on my back and without my, purse, right?
Bring another mag. Tuck it into your waistband if you have to.
Boxer, you can get Cecile set up and rigged up. There's all the gear here. It's not just
Oh,
the
okay.
weapons and the ammunition. You can
Time for
grab.
shoulder dress up.
Oh,
Yeah, you can give her a military makeover.
oh, no, Cecile knows how.
Right.
She does. You watch as she, puts on the vest and gears up. She only takes 3 mags, though.
Okay, I haven't seen anything
Frankly,
in
if the firefight's still going on after 3 mags,
Yeah,
Do
no.
they have any sporting rifles?
probably not.
Used to protracted combat. She's over here like, ugh, I need to pack enough to fight in the mountains.
I must be prepared.
That's why she has like thousands of rounds of ammunition. When she's like never gonna use that.
What were you going to say, Dare?
The closest thing to what I'm looking for is a stun baton, but Dare can't use a stun baton. Is there
Stun blade.
a stun blade? I haven't seen it in the books.
Yeah, I have a hard time picturing how that would work.
I guess.
Like inherently, a blade is going to do physical damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could only really be a club unless, like, for some reason you wanted to restrict the conductive surface to be, like, only along the edge of a blade, a dull blade.
I guess you could balance
Although, you haven't considered just taking a training blade with you.
Yeah.
Deandra could take the equivalent of a fencing foil.
Deandra uses saber. She needs a fencing saber. So she's just gonna beat this guy over the head with a fencing saber.
beat the ever loving stuffing out of him.
Let's
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
Does Arsenal have a... Boop, boop, boop. If it's anywhere, it's going to be an Arsenal.
I looked in Arsenal, but their melee weapons, there's not much.
Yeah, they're for the guns. Guns.
Yeah, all of the swords say physical, but if you can get a katana, I see no reason you can't get a bakken. Bakken?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna get a Ares Alpha and ammunition for what you call it.
Now I doubt Prokop has a fencing foil inside of his armory.
Yeah, nope.
He doesn't seem like that kind of dude.
Time for
There are
DeAndre to
bladed
find-
weapons, but not dull bladed weapons.
Yeah. Time for DeAndre to go out and find the 1 or 2 fencing shops in all of Auburn or whatever.
No. Danger just has to go into the, more rich neighborhoods.
Too rich
Yeah.
for my blood.
I guess. If she was doing that, she'd bring Cecile with her.
Cecile's just going to be. Actually, no, she shouldn't bring Cecile with her. That's a bad idea.
I guess,
Grenade
yeah.
launcher. The Ares Alpha just
Yeah.
goes with one of those. Just
Yeah. How do you think I was launching grenades before?
what? I just assumed you had an attachment on the lower
Nope.
Picatinny.
No, there's a reason that things are illegal as all get out.
I knew it was a stretch. I'm just going to find a fencing shop. I'll be back in a bit.
12F.
It's about 10 p.m. right now. I'm not sure if fencing shops are going to be open right now.
She's going anyway.
I'm telling you, it's a fencing emergency.
It is a fencing emergency. We're not gonna call the guy until we have the recording, right?
It's in shape.
Until we're not completely set up yet.
Correct, because George Van Housen told you that he was going to get you a recording
hmm
of Kimmy.
So we have at least until tomorrow. So fencing shop tomorrow. Let's go.
Well, okay. I'm going to a hotel. I will. Where should I? Is there a bag in here?
You can stay here again.
Good. I'll just leave this down here. Cecile takes all the stuff off,
That's probably wise.
looking very much like somebody took a press journalist and just like slapped stuff on them.
I'm with the press. I have a shotgun.
Ice has got a shotgun in his hand. He's got a short sword, and he
I think
also
I'd like
picked
to
up
have
an
his range.
AK-97.
Would they have like attachments here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the place is loaded.
The place.
The armory is loaded. Is
Oh, yeah,
Cecile
you're right.
still down in the armory?
Cecile's probably left. She's like, I've got 3 mags. That's more than enough. Whatever. I'm going to bed.
In the back.
Oh no, it's like midday, isn't it?
No, it's late at night.
Okay. Cecile's going to bed.
Yeah, you remember your way up to the rooms, the spare rooms that maybe you can even call it like the barracks rooms upstairs. As you're headed up, Talia comes up behind you and says, "Excuse me, Cecile, may I have a word with you?"
Cecile pivots around and says, "Sure, what's up?"
Let's keep walking.
Okay.
She follows you to your room, and she looks at you very intently for a moment without saying anything. And then she says, "Who is your patron?"
My what?
Your patron.
Like a totem?
No.
Uh,
Interesting. Okay. She turns around and leaves.
He's out.
Cecile looks confused and closes her door.
These are some strange people.
Don't know what I'm intended to take away from that, but okay. It's late.
Shadowrunners are so weird. The Topps Company, Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sounds, audio, video, and/or any proprietary material used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company, Inc. has granted permission to the Hard Knocks Sorority podcast to use such names, logos, artwork, marks, and/or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with the Hard Knocks Sorority podcast in any official capacity whatsoever. The music for the Hard Knocks Sorority podcast was written and performed by Trace Mineral. The Hard Knocks Sorority podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons License 4.0, meaning you are welcome to use the material as long as you give us credit.